This is from our friends at Elite FTS. When you get old like me, you know, actually, so here's a story to tell you. I remember when I was in my 20s, and I used to see all the guys coming in, putting this balm on their knees and their elbows, and I'd laugh at them. I'd say, if you guys knew how to train, you wouldn't have that problem. Now here we are. I'm one of the 40-year-old guys, and I'm drowning myself in this stuff. Plus, if you smell it, opens your nasal passages right up.
So what's the purpose of it, John? What's it do with it?
It just brings blood in there. It warms everything up. And really, that's it. It warms everything up. But I use this on my knees. I've never had a knee problem, but I use it on my knees anyway before legs. And before I do any arm or chest work or back work, I put on my elbows. So, good stuff. All right, hello everybody. This is John Meadows, and I am 1 week out from the Masters Nationals. I finished in second place last year, and I hope to do better this year. So we trained back today, and if you're wondering who the huge ball-headed guy is, that's Amit up here. He's a pro that came in from Canada that trained with me for a couple days and make sure I'm not slacking on the job. And we trained back. This was a fairly heavy back workout, but we stayed off our lower back because we have legs tomorrow morning at Elite FTS, and I'm sure we'll probably get some squats in, so we want a fresh lower back. So today we started with the exercise that I named Meadows Rows, the one-arm T-bar rows, and basically we did just sets of 8 until we got to about our third or fourth working set, and then we did what I call a challenge set. The challenge set is basically when you just grind out as many reps as you can possibly grind out, and you just put everything into it, your heart, your soul, everything. And I got, I think I did 23 reps on each side, and it was brutal. Then Amit, I think, knocked out 25 on each side, if I remember correctly. So from there, we went to, I got to think about this. So we went to cable rows, low cable rows. And really what I was trying to do there was just keep my elbows tucked in nice and tight, work on my lower lats. And I try to visualize kind of in my head striations going through my lower lats. You know, whether they're there or not, we'll find out next week. But I kind of like to visualize it while I'm doing those. And so we knocked out some sets there, probably three or four good sets. And then, so we just did 2 rows, and I wanted to give our arms a break. So we went to, we were training at Metro Fitness in Worthington, which it used to be World's Gym. It's where Mike Francois and many other really good competitors have trained. And they have a Nautilus pullover machine. And I always thought that was a really cool machine. I always really liked it. But it's pretty rare to see those in gyms now. And, excuse me, what we did was, instead of doing a traditional kind of pullover with the machine, we were really just focusing on serratus. You know, the little shark tooth muscles when you throw up a front double bi that hopefully stick out. And, you know, Frank Zane is a good example of somebody that had really sharp serratus, and it looks really impressive when your arms are over your head. So you'll notice we're just doing a partial movement, and we're really just working the top of the movement, and we're stretching back pretty far, and we're trying to use our serratus just to pull the weight up 5 or 6 inches and keep tension on that muscle. And it's not a muscle like your calves where you're just going to feel them pump up and burn, but I do think that you can, if you align your body correctly, you can work that muscle pretty hard. So we did a few sets there, and I also did back on Monday, and I used 4 other completely different exercises. Anyway, so we moved on to probably it's a toss-up between calves and hamstrings, but I love to train lower body, so we did some calves. I train calves 5 days a week, and we just did a standing machine supersetted with a tibia machine, and on the standing machine we worked up to a drop set that was extremely painful. On the standing raises, I really like them because it forces you to work out of a stretch, and that's not something you really your calves are used to. You know, your calves, you walk around all the time on them, so they're a pretty tough muscle, and they're used to pushing, you know, pushing you into a kind of a contracted position, but they're not used to stretching. So we do a lot of really focusing on stretching at the bottom. Then the last thing I wanted to do today was, you'll see me just doing a set on a big blue ball. I don't even know what to call those things these days, for my abs. And you know, I'll explain in the video why I was doing that. I've had a number of surgeries, and my abs are held together by some surgical stitching, so it's a very tricky situation for me. I can't really crank on my abs like other people can, like I used to do. It just physically hurts. I can feel the stitching pulling. But I have to do a little bit so that the muscle will actually flex and it won't shake a whole lot on stage. So I just did a little bit there, and you'll see that in the video also. So we did some barbell shrugs, and nothing fancy there. I'd say the only thing different you might see me do is I pause them at the top and hold them. I've always felt like I got more out of doing a 200 or 300 pound shrug where I held the weight at the top for a second or two, as opposed to doing a 400 or 500 pound shrug and just basically bouncing the weight up and down. Well, this year, like last year, I've been really fortunate to work with Biotest again. And you know, I typically listen to these videos and I hear people talk about whoever they're working with is the best supplement company in the world, and you know, I just think, well, that's impossible. They all can't be the best. But I feel like the results I've had in the last 2 years kind of speak for themselves. I'm an old man. I'm over 40 now, and I've been able to gain, you know, in the last 2 years over 10 pounds of muscle, and I credit a lot of that to the intra-workout, the protocols, you know, that you saw earlier in the video that I was mixing up the plasma drink. So working with Biotest again this year, I hope to continue to work with them for a long time because they make awesome stuff. And you know, this year, in terms of the question, if you're wondering, you know, what I did different, you know, it's been interesting because I've been forced to do a lot of different things due to injuries. And last year I went the whole year and didn't have one single injury. And this year I've had a lot of nagging injuries, weird stuff. You know, doing a couple light reps with 275 on a squat, for instance, and I strained a ligament in my back, and it's just been a number of things like that, and it hasn't stopped my training. I still train 7 days a week. I've just had to change the exercises that I do while the injury heals. I've had some pretty banged up elbows. My pronator teres, which isn't typically a muscle that part of your elbow typically doesn't get beat up too bad if you're a bodybuilder, but somehow mine did. Probably from squatting too much. But anyways, so just I've had to work around a lot of injuries. I've had to use a lot of different exercises that more than what I normally do. I don't think it's helped me or hurt me really. I have some body parts that I think are better this year. I think when you see me, you'll see some more upper body thickness and roundness. My legs, we'll see. I think they're pretty similar to what they were last year, maybe a little bit deeper lines in them. But other, you know, so the things that I've done that were different weren't necessarily by choice. Nutritionally, the only thing I've had to do different this year was I like to watch my weight. I'm a weight scale fanatic. I feel like when you're really lean, you should never see anything dramatic happen on the scale. And so if I see something, for instance, let's say I'm 230. If I wake up Every day I'm 230, and then then maybe before I go to bed I'm 234. If I wake up at 2:30 and midway through the day I'm 222, something's not right. So there have been a couple situations like that where I've had to eat up, is what I call it. Get your body weight back up, and that's not done with clean food. It's done with hamburgers and pizza and things like that pack a lot of calories. Typically a 5,000 to 6,000 calorie meal over a span of about an hour. I've had to do that a couple times this year because my weight started crashing, and I haven't had to do that for probably about 4 or 5 weeks, so everything seems to be leveled off pretty good. But nutritionally, everything's been pretty much the same. Still the huge focus on peri-workout nutrition. 80% of my carbs focused pre, intra, and post-workout, and the other meals mainly protein and fat. Still trying to train hard as I possibly can. Still training 7 days a week, and that's pretty much it.
I know you're exhausted, bud, and definitely low carbs and everything going into the show, but just for people who wouldn't know, even though I'd be surprised if there's some out there, go ahead and just give us a brief description of the Mountain Dog philosophy behind your training program, bud.
Well, the Mountain Dog philosophy, the program that I've built, it wasn't something that I just sat up and I thought, boy, I'm going to just write something down and market it and make some money. It was really, it's really something that's ongoing, and I built some programs and I did the programs and they seemed to work well. I had my training partners do the same work. I had guys that were ectomorphic, guys that are endomorphic. It didn't really matter. They were all gaining muscle and doing well. So I started putting some detailed documentation together. If anybody has worked with me, they'll tell you that the workouts I send are extremely detailed and constantly evolving and changing. But so I put a pen to paper, and I put the workouts together, and I'll do a 12-week program, and then I'll build another one, and I'm up to my 14th one right now. So each program, they're all hard. None of them are easy. I just try to, as I continue in this journey, I just try to learn as I go. I just try to learn more and more and more. There is absolutely nobody in this business that knows everything there is about training and nutrition. You have to just keep learning and keep getting better. It doesn't mean you lose focus on the basics. It just means that there's more out there to learn. So, a couple years from now, I'll probably be working on program 20 or whatever, but it's a labor of love. I love thinking about my training, and I think it works. It's if I could, probably the short way to think about it is we do some muscle activation work to get some blood in the muscle. Then we typically do some heavier work with some explosive training. I like to use accommodating resistance, so you'll see a lot of bands and chains. You don't have to have them. It's just very nice to have. And we'll do a lot of pump work, stimulate maybe more sarcoplasmic hypertrophy as opposed to myofibrillar hypertrophy. And then, we get a muscle that's fully pumped, and sometimes we'll put it through a little fuller range of motion, more of a stretch. But so there's phases to the workout as you're going through. There's different goals as you go through. And, we have certain exercises that fit in certain spots in that rotation. And, so that's how it is right now. 6 months from now, I may change the whole thing. Who knows? But whatever I think is going to improve the program, I'm thinking about adding another phase with occlusion training, just because the science behind it seems really, really solid. But I can't put it in my programs yet because I haven't done it. I haven't had anybody else do it, so I don't, I don't want to just throw it in there just because it sounds cool. I want something that's in there because I've seen it work. I know it works. In the field experience and the trenches experience is paramount to me. So that's kind of it.
So if someone's interested in looking at your workouts, or where would they go to find that? But is that on your website, or?
Well, if you go to mountaindogdiet.com, you'll see I have a member website that's a little over $9 a month, and it has a lot of things in it. One of the sections is workout of the month, and I pull those workouts. I pull out of a program, So like if it's a leg workout, it's a leg workout that was actually part of one of my programs, and I think I've got, man, I think I'm up over 40 workouts now. I do one every month. I just keep building it. I have interviews on there with some of the smartest people out there, and I don't just mean guru coaches. I mean PhDs, guys that are in the trenches, really, really bright guys. This month's interview is with a guy named John Ivey, who wrote the book Nutrient Timing. Extremely, extremely intelligent gentleman. I have an In the Trenches section where I talk about exactly what I'm doing with IFBB pros as they prepare for contests. I have an advanced nutrition article every month, usually from Bill Willis. If you guys have ever read Bill Willis' stuff, in my opinion, Bill is the best kept secret in this entire industry. If you read his stuff, he's amazing. And he's about to finish his PhD also, so I'm hoping I get to do a lot more with Bill. And then, you know, Scott Stevenson is another gentleman. Actually, he'll be competing at Masters next week too. Awesome bodybuilder, awesome guy, extremely, extremely intelligent. He writes a lot for me too, so you'll see his writings on the website as well. So I think we've assembled a pretty good team, and you know, have a Q&A on the website as well for members. So I'm kind of like one of those guys, you sign up and I'm on retainer. You know, if you pay your $9 a month, you can send me questions and I'll answer them. I don't always do it within an hour because I get about 300 emails a day, but I do answer every email I get. So join up, and I think you'll be surprised at the value you get.
Okay. Well, sounds good, and look forward to seeing you on stage. Hopefully get that pro card, bud.
Thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to getting there.
Okay. Take care. Good deal.